Hi, this is Walt Fritz from Foundations in Manual Therapy Seminars. My past experiences earlier in my physical therapy career with certain modalities and all really created a sense of skepticism, cynicism in me, one that lives on to today, really. And, when I hear professionals talk about certain concepts through simple words, simple phrases, I was get a little questioning of that. The concept of strength, for instance, the concept of weakness. In the voice field, the oral motor field, we talk about lingual weakness. And certainly it is a thing, weak tongue, weak surrounding structure for the tongue. But what are we really referring to when we talk about weakness, or when we make a change that creates what we call strength? Classic in terms of muscle physiology, strengthening requires basically loading the muscle to fatigue and then letting it rest a significant period of time, usually a couple of days, is sort of the standard. And then to reload again, adding force, adding resistance over time, building muscle strength. And, that's the way muscle strengthening happens. But yet, there's so many times when we're working with a patient, and whether it's the tongue or anywhere in the body, and the problem is deemed due to weakness, but we do something within a session. And whether it's education, an exercise, manual therapy, all sorts of things, where the patient transitions from being functionally weaker to functionally stronger. And we simplify that. We call that, that the person's now stronger. But I think we need to really be careful with our terminology, because that strength did not come from the muscle becoming stronger. Most likely it was from more of a top-down influence, where we created a sense of awareness, a novel stimulus, whether it's through touch, through exercise, through education, etc., where the person is then able to generate more power through awareness, through sensory awareness, where they're able to generate better functional strength. Does it matter? I think it does. I think it really does. When we use words like weak and strong, strengthening exercise, I think we need to be able to better define our terms. And this is just one of them, right? We see it all the time in the kind of work that I use, and I teach manual therapy and exercise, where, move in on the tongue and give some resistance. And with a little bit of sensory input, we call it mapping the tongue, right? Different parts of the tongue where you provide gentle resistance to. And the patient can immediately feel, okay, where do they want me to go? And what do I need to accomplish to do that? And what I think is really fascinating is how quickly a person can develop strength with just that little bit of sensory input. Heading up here, a little bit of neuroplasticity effect coming back down, and boom, they can move that tongue in the desired way. So am I nothing but a semantics teacher or something, right? Maybe, but I do think we need to be careful with how we, number one, explain this to patients, but number two, explain this to ourselves.